What was the marriage like between Catherine the Great and her husband Peter? I'm not sure if you've seen The Great starring Elle Fanning, but in this drama they sort of depict Catherine and Peter as having a love-hate relationship, but one that is sort of underscored with a degree of sort of affection that brings them closer together over time. Anyway, in reality, this was not true at all, and Catherine and Peter actually had a very unhappy marriage. Peter, like Catherine, was actually born in Germany. His mother was Russian, and when he was orphaned at the age of about 11, his Russian aunt took him under her wing and basically adopted him. His Russian aunt, Elizabeth, became Empress of Russia, and she later adopted him as her heir presumptive. Empress Elizabeth then arranged for Peter to marry his second cousin, Sophia Augusta Frederica, who later was renamed as Catherine. Peter and Catherine were married when they were both teenagers. Catherine was just 16 and Peter was 17. Apparently on their wedding night, Peter abandoned the marriage bed to go and party with his friends, and this really set the tone for their whole marriage. Catherine was intelligent and witty and wanting to learn, and so she couldn't deal with her boorish, stupid husband. Catherine's memoirs and letters are riddled with references to her stupid and often cruel husband, who was constantly drunk, and on one occasion he forced her to watch him hang and execute a mouse. And so very quickly after their wedding, they went their separate ways. Catherine threw herself into learning Russian and getting to know her new country, whereas Peter was obsessed with soldiers, both toy soldiers and real soldiers, and he would train them ceaselessly. And as a result, both Catherine and Peter found love, or at least affection and satisfaction, with other people. And in fact, their own marriage was rumoured not to have been consummated for many years. Although in 1754, Catherine did give birth to a boy who they named Paul. He was the only son born to Catherine and Peter, and of course there are loads of rumours that suspect that he was not Peter's son, but in fact we will never know whether that's true or not. And here is Paul in this picture. He later became Paul I, Emperor of Russia. In 1759, Catherine gave birth to a second child, Anna, which was claimed to have been Peter's, but this child only lived 14 months. In 1782, Empress Elizabeth died, and so Peter became the new Emperor of Russia. He was at this point 33, and so Catherine was 32. Unfortunately, Peter was not considered a successful emperor. He alienated a lot of very powerful groups in Russia, and he was also considered rather eccentric and not fit to rule. And so it is during this time that Catherine steadily built up her support and decided to enact a coup. She wrestled power from her husband, and she herself became Emperor of Russia. And so now, only 6 months after he had become emperor, he was now deposed with no power. And very quickly after, on the 17th of June 1762, he died. His cause of death is unknown, but many suspect he was probably assassinated. Catherine was now Empress of Russia. This was such an amazing feat. And under her very long reign, which lasted all the way from 1762 to 1796, she introduced the Enlightenment to Russia. And Russia essentially experienced a renaissance of culture and the sciences. It is said that during her rule, Russia came to be recognised as one of the great powers of Europe.